So we got a 2010 F-150 and it's got a broken dipstick tube. I've tried to heat it. Luckily it's not broken off at the block. I've had one broken off at the block before. I had to pull the engine, not solely because of the dipstick being broken, but there was also 9 out of 16 exhaust studs were broken, so they had to be drilled out of the head, so I chose to remove the engine on that particular project. This one, fortunately, it's still intact up above right to the secure nut up top on the block. But it is busted from that point on, so it needs to come out of the block. Like I said, I've heated it and lubed it, and this sucker's not coming out, so I'm gonna try another option here. So I got a new dipstick here from Ford. I just need to open it up to get a diameter on the tubing. So what I'm gonna be doing is I'm gonna take this nut, I'm gonna split it in half so I can weld it onto the old dipstick that's stuck in the bore. Go from there. So I got my nut here. What I plan on doing is taking and welding it right like so. And then I'll show you what I'm gonna do from there. Get your nut in place, clamp it into place with a pair of vice grips. So as you can see, it's quite thin metal. I burnt through the tube right when I was finishing up the weld, unfortunately. So my solution is I'm gonna put another nut on it underneath and then bridge between the two nuts right here and just tack to the tube off the bottom of my nut. I'll show you the result of that. So you can drag your welding cable over. I'm gonna clamp to the dipstick up above it. You wanna clamp as closely as you can to your workpiece. And we're gonna weld that. Unfortunately, I'm gonna be working with both my hands, so I'm not gonna be able to film the actual welding. I'll show you the end result though. So as you can see, it's quite thin metal. I burnt through the tube right when I was finishing up the weld, unfortunately. So my solution is I'm gonna put another nut on it underneath and then bridge between the two nuts right here and just tack to the tube off the bottom of my nut. I'll show you the result of that. So now that you got your nuts welded onto your dipstick tube, I know it's not pretty. I'm not a professional welder. I am a ticketed mechanic though. I do weld on the daily. The dipstick tube is quite thin. It's all overhead. Not my favorite stuff to work with. But now that we got that welded in place, I'll show you what to do next. So we're gonna take the torch and heat that boss. And just be really careful. I got the block heater cord out of the way. And you're just gonna be careful not to heat any other components around. Careful with your oil pan gasket and have a fire extinguisher handy. Now that you got that boss heated, you're gonna take an air hammer and you're gonna go off of, sorry about the camera, go off of your nuts there. And as you can see, if I can get the right angle, boom, that dipstick has moved. So I'm going to continue to work it. Kind of difficult to do with one hand. And that dipstick's almost out. And it's out. So there it is. It's not pretty, but it's practical. It worked. Essentially, you just weld the nuts to the dipstick tube in order to give yourself a edge for your air hammer to hook onto and smack her out. So typical blue oval thing, they want you to basically remove the manifold if you want to get this dipstick in there. But if you take a pickle fork, and rest it and push right off of the end of your dipstick tube and just cause it to bend maybe a degree or two right up in here, you can get it in without removing anything. If the dipstick is difficult to get in and doesn't want to go down into the bore, I just took a pickle fork, rested on this ledge, and then took a hammer and hit on my flat surface, tapped on my flat surface. Want to see more automotive solutions and quick fixes like that? Hit like and subscribe if this video helped you out.